Hello.
And welcome to the Comic Queens podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Annie. And today we are super excited to do somewhat of a deep dive into Alex's reviews of some titles that I recommended. And also some titles that we were really inspired to start recently. Just kind of getting out of that reading rut and like getting back into things. How's it feeling to be back out of the reading rut?
It feels really good so far. So I started with 3 of the recommendations that you gave on the last episode. The first one I started with was The Queen's Secret Lessons. I loved this one. I think it was one of the shorter ones. I think there are 9 episodes out.
Yeah.
And it's on Leeson. The art is gorgeous. I get what you mean by it has Painter of the Night vibes to it with the explicit painter. Mm-hmm. I loved the concept of this one, though, and I, of course, love the queen. She's great, and I love the painter.
I will say they do a really good job in this series as well of making you hate the villainess.
Oh, I hate her.
Yeah, I know. They did a really good job.
And the king. I'm not really a big fan of the king either.
Yeah, he's kind of a player.
Yeah. On the most recent episode, I love to see this dynamic where the queen is like starting to come into her own power. So we see that there's been the floods that have happened and a lot of people have been put out and cannot provide for themselves. And the queen is thinking, okay, these are my people. I need to protect them. I need to do what I can. She's like thinking about selling her jewels so that she can provide them more food. And then here's the stupid maid bitch who's like, I would like a pleasure barge, please. Like, come on, you're not getting your pleasure barge. And I love that the king did side with her and say, well, you can have a banquet, but like it would be in poor taste to go on a pleasure barge right now.
Yeah. He wasn't going to. The king was gonna side with the maid for a minute.
Yeah, he definitely was. But I love that the queen was able to convince him to see otherwise. Mm-hmm. And it just really shows that she's like growing into her character and like becoming more confident, where I don't think she would have stood against him before.
Yeah, it's really true. And honestly, I love the painter. I somehow hope she ends up with the painter. Maybe just as like a side piece. Who cares?
I mean, do we think that there's a world where she's going to end up with the painter?
Yeah, probably. I think so.
I do love him. The scenes with the peaches.
I'm just saying, if you haven't read this one, you might want to.
18 plus.
Yes. I think quite a few of the ones on Leeson at this point are 18 plus.
I think that they are. The next one on Leeson that I started reading is Steel Under Silk. Mm-hmm. I'm not completely caught up with this one. There are like 60-something episodes out of this. I'm only like 15 in right now. But again, I love this one. It does vaguely remind me of Painter of the Night as well. And I only say that just because we've got like the big, strong like governor character. Mm-hmm. And then the like younger guy.
Yeah.
Who's in like not the position of power. Mm-hmm. And I really like this one. I think that it's going to be interesting to see how they turn this into any type of love story, though.
I know.
I know that you said, like, later on, he's really struggling with how he feels towards the governor, but also, like, wanting to like him, but also then not because he killed his dad. And you can kind of already see the struggles even early on in like the first 15 episodes. But so far it's been a little bit more like world building and finding out who all of these characters are. Yeah. I'm definitely going to keep reading it, but I did get a little sidetracked and I started reading Keeping My Boss on a Tight Leash. I was not expecting this one at all. So even your description, when you described it, I was like, yeah, that doesn't sound like what I thought it was going to be when I looked at the cover and when I saw the description. And then I started reading it. It is so funny.
Yeah. Laugh out loud.
It's hilarious. I think this is probably the funniest one that I've read recently. I am absolutely going to keep reading this one.
I know. It's hard to find one that has you actually, like, chuckle to yourself.
Yeah.
Kind of like a crazy person.
Yeah.
But for me, it was this one And Punch Drunk Love.
Punch Drunk Love is funny.
And the Fantastical After School Writing Club.
Yeah.
I cannot keep myself from, like, outwardly laughing.
Yeah, me too. When I was reading this one, I think I called you after I caught up on it. I was like, this is so amazing. I loved it. I love that his animal familiar, what do they call it? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
Well, whatever. His animal familiar is like a tiny little puppy, and then the other guys are both big wolves.
I know.
I love it. And I love that she can like see everyone now. So there was the chipmunk character, and it's just so funny.
Yeah. I absolutely recommend it. It's so good.
But then I know that there's also going to be a little bit of a mystery too, because at the end where we're caught up on the most recent episode, we do see that the people who are shapeshifters, not familiars, that's what they're called, shapeshifters.
There we go.
So the shapeshifters, they are being hunted by other people, and we see that one of the shapeshifters is one of the people that's hunting them, but we don't know who it is yet.
Yeah.
So I think that there could be they could throw a little mystery in there too, and get away with it in this one.
Oh yeah, I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a wild ride, but I'm in.
I mean, yeah, the mystery of them having a laboratory underneath the company, like basement level 19 or whatever it was. Yeah. I mean, there's some weird stuff happening, but I love it. I think it's great.
So good. So I know that there were a couple of others on the list, and I will probably still read those eventually. But this did lead me to one that I have been meaning to read and got a little sidetracked. But I really wanted to read Da Capo. This was just released on February 25th. So it's not been out for too long now, but it still has been out for a little while. So there are 18 episodes. This releases every Sunday on Manta. And this one caught my attention when it was an up-and-coming series in the little, like, new and noteworthy section. So this one really caught my attention because of the piano. It reminded me of Broken Melody a little bit. And so I was, like, really piqued my interest right away with that. And it definitely has a little bit of elements of, like, kind of lost identity and trying to find yourself. And it's a coming-of-age story. So I loved this one so much. I just caught up with it. It is about Daewoo Kim, and he is a 30-year-old man. As a child, they discover that he has perfect pitch. So they discover this when he's playing the piano, and he has no knowledge of how to play the piano, but he heard like commercials, and he would just repeat them on the piano. His mom was a piano teacher, and so he basically, like, they ran with it, and they were like, wow, you have perfect pitch. We're going to get you into, like, all these programs. So he's doing all of these awards, winning everything.
Yeah.
Kind of a child prodigy in the piano. Much similar to Broken Melody. And then he ends up going to a performing arts high school. So he's there at the Performing Arts High School for 2 years, and he drops out because he starts to lag behind everyone because he's not really interested in the piano at this point, and he's not trying hard. So he kind of starts to fall behind. He's like, you know what? I'd rather be a rapper.
I'm sorry. I have not read this one. But it's not where you would immediately see this going.
Yeah, it's not. And to probably no one's surprise, he's not a successful rapper.
Oh.
He goes on this like undiscovered show, and which kind of to me looked like an American Idol, but for rappers. And he basically, he kind of fails at this as well.
He bombed.
Yeah. So he's dropped out of school from being a piano prodigy. He's failed as a rapper. He doesn't really know what to do next. So he kind of moves on, and we see that he does end up at the age of 30, after all of this has happened, he ends up falling back in love with the piano when he's like teaching some young children and like sees their reaction to it. And it kind of makes him realize like that he wasted all of his talent and he wasted all of his time that he was given to play the piano, and he didn't really appreciate what he had, and now it's gone. And he doesn't really think that he can do anything about this, so he ends up taking a job at a construction company. So he's working at a construction site, And then he gets hit in the head with one of those, like, beam, you know, the giant beams?
Yeah.
It's one of those, like, falls on him and he dies. But...
Is this an isekai?
It's an isekai.
So... I did not see this coming at all. This is amazing.
So he gets hit, and all of a sudden he wakes back up, and he's in middle school again.
Oh, God. That's a punishment.
Yeah, it's a reincarnation. It's the end of middle school, though, so he doesn't have to go through middle school again.
Okay, but we've all been in middle school.
We've all been in middle school. You don't want to do it again.
No.
But he's about to go into high school, in this performing arts high school again.
Okay.
And now he is like, I cannot let this opportunity go to waste again. I'm going back to school. I'm going to actually try in all my classes. And I'm going to win the Chopin Piano Award. It's like this very prestigious award that you can win. So he's like, I'm going to be a pianist. Like, I'm going to do it all the way this time. So.
I love it.
I think you're going to love this one.
It's so different from the reincarnation stories that we read.
Yeah, it is.
Because all of mine are like romance stories, obviously. Shocking nobody. But like, he's falling back in love, but like with the piano.
Yeah.
And I love that.
So, and it's beautiful. They have all these scenes where they show him playing the piano. And he has like this power when he plays the piano that he like brings people, he can see this forest when he plays. And he can bring other people into this forest so that they can see it too. Like, a couple of his classmates that he's working on a group project with, he shows them. One of them is like, did you put me under a hallucination? Why can I see a forest right now? Like, what is happening? Another one thinks that she fell asleep and was just dreaming about this forest. It's just to show that, like, he really has this gift. They do the same thing where he writes this song about the ocean called Ocean View. And so you can see, like, as he's playing, the ocean is around him. There's another one where he plays Litz Totentans. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
I'm not sure what it is.
It's a famous song
Okay.
that he's playing the piano during a competition. And one of the classmates says his playing tempts the listeners like the devil himself. Ooh. Which I wrote down that quote because I just loved that. But then, like, in the background while he's playing, there is, like, a Grim Reaper. And it's just to show that he really... So the other thing is, too, is, like, there's this really famous teacher that they have called Seung Hwan Go. And so during the, like, initial exam that they have that puts you either in class A, which is the top students, or class B, which is the not top students, the bottom students, I guess. And so he's like, they're just making everyone play. And when he makes them play, he's like, you did this really great thing that I liked with your hands, like, one time. But also, like, your basics suck. Your posture is horrible. Like, you messed up all these notes. Like, basically, you kind of suck. So he thought that he was going to end up in Class B again, like he did before. But what ends up happening is the teacher, like, sees the potential in him, basically, that, like, he doesn't have any training. He can't read music. He can just hear things and then play them pretty well.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, too, where he kind of knows things that are going to happen. Like, there's a competition between... So he has his group that he's working with, which has Sung Ji-han, Dakyum Oh, Aryam San, and Daewon. I don't remember what his last name was. And then Daehwan. And they're in this group basically for the whole year, and they have to do all their projects together.
Can you imagine
being in a group with another group of students for the whole year?
The whole year.
Luckily, his group is really nice.
That's good.
And so then there's another group of students, and they are also in this competition. Yoon Seong is, like, the top student, and he knows... Daehwan knows, like, from the future that he's going to be really famous and win this Chopin piano competition in the future. He knows that Dakyum Oh is going to be a famous rapper, but then, like, he's part of an idol group, and then their idol group, like, disbands at some point. So he's he's using his powers for good to like help himself and help others too.
Yeah, kind of help push them in the right direction.
Yeah, a little bit like, what is the other one with the idols?
Shoot for the Stars.
Shoot for the Stars, yes. A little bit like Shoot for the Stars, where he's kind of got all of this insider knowledge. But then you also see like butterfly effect, things start to change. So Daehwa knows that one of their assignments is they have to compose their own song, and then someone has to play it. One of the group members does.
Okay.
And Daehwa has composed songs in the future, so he uses one of his songs from the future that he already knows and makes that their like song that they're going to compose.
Oh my gosh.
And then the other group hears that, and then they put up a much better song than they had originally planned to, because they're like, oh, they're putting a lot of effort into this. We need to do that too. And so he's seeing that things are like starting to change slightly because he's doing things differently. So not everything is going exactly the same. And we also see Yoon Se-young, something's going on with him. I have no idea like what's truly happening with him, but I feel like he's kind of got a crush on Daehwa because he gives him a gift in the beginning. It's like a hand massager to help with, because you know you're playing the piano, so his fingers get cramped all the time. So he gave him a hand massager. And at first he's like, all of the other students are like, oh, what girl gave you this? Like, you must have a girlfriend, some crush. And then we find out that it was Yoon Se-young. And then they go out to eat. And I don't know, it could just be that he's like, you know, super friendly. But they're making it seem like maybe he's got a crush on him. Maybe they're just friends. Who's to say? But it's
not
super,
Alex
super
looking
cute.
for a boy love.
It could be a boy love. We don't know. But it's so good so far. And it is where it's ended right now is on a cliffhanger. So Yoon Se-young has just kind of passed out. Like they're like saying all of the students who are going to be in this most recent competition. And he raised his hand and said, I don't want to be in this competition. He was put up because he's the top student. So he was automatically entered, and he asked to be withdrawn from that.
Oh, man.
And then as he's asking to be withdrawn from that, he kind of like is falling over. And so Daehwan is getting ready to take him to the nurse. And that's where we leave off. But I love this one. I didn't even get into like there's a bully, there's the Mozart Club. It's like a group of bullies, and they try to recruit him because they know that he's good now, and before they didn't try to recruit him. And he turns them down because he knows like what their end game is.
Yeah.
And you see that Young-hoon, who is the leader of the bullies, this is what I was telling you earlier, where you see his backstory too. So like you see that he's mean, he's like bullying, he almost tries to hurt Daehwan's hand and tries to get him like kicked out of this competition. But then you see it's because his parents, like since he was young, have put in his head like, you are only good if you're winning us money with piano competitions. And it's so sad. He like basically has this mental breakdown, and he plays his own song on stage, and his parents come and like his dad like starts slapping him, and the teacher comes in and is like, you can't do that, and he quits the school, and it's like a whole big thing. Aww. And then he sends Daehwa a like text message basically and apologizes and says like, you know, you showed me that I need to just like do my own thing, and I'm sorry for what I was doing to you. And it's so sad. Like, it's such a good story. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful. And I cannot wait to see where this one goes. I love this story so much. It really does remind me of Broken Melody, because it really seems to be about the main character kind of finding who they are. You've got the bullies who are not really bullies because you get to see like into their what like is driving them to do these things. So it's just like, it's beautiful. I could not recommend this one anymore.
I'm so glad you finally got around to reading it.
Me too.
Because I know literally as soon as you saw it was coming out, you go, I'm going to read that one. But we've been so bad about starting series.
Yeah.
That are like newly released.
Yeah. And this is really going out of kind of my comfort zone too of reading like some sort of fantasy romance.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is just my go-to. So it's really refreshing to read something outside of that. Even though I love my fantasy romances, I'm definitely going to keep reading The Queen's Secret Lessons, Keeping My Boss on a Tight Leash, Steel Under Silk, all the other like romance ones that I always read, but it's nice to add in this one.
Yeah, it's a nice little sprinkle. I feel like that's what I did with The Live, because we were reading that one and it was a nice change of pace and very different from what we were actually reading at the time. But I've unfortunately kind of fallen back into my old ways. So as soon as I heard that you were reading Da Capo, I decided I wanted to read a quote-unquote new series. By new, I mean new to me, because I actually looked back and this aired like end of January. So
New enough
is how we'll label it. But this one is available on Manta. It is called False Confession. It has 30 episodes and it is a fantasy romance, surprising literally nobody. But it releases every Sunday. And I feel like Sundays are just one of those days where I do find myself reading, and I don't have like a lot of titles that I read on Sundays. So it's nice to have like your go-to. Like I know I read All Colors of Snow on Tuesdays. That's my Tuesday day. And now this will be like my Sunday release. So I've got them all like lined up, my little calendar.
Yes.
But this story follows Priestess Renesha, who she's isekai'd to this new land where she was just like a really struggling student. And as soon as she comes here, now she's a dying orphan.
So like, not a better situation.
Not a better situation. She's like, oh my God, I haven't eaten in 4 days. I'm going to actually die. And when she wakes up, she's in this temple that had taken her in. Like all of the like priests and everything like that, they ended up taking care of her. And so she basically like lives under their roof and like works for the temple, like moving forward. So she's like, oh, okay, I'll just make sure to like earn my keep. I'll do all the chores, etc. She has like a roommate named Lily that kind of becomes like a sister. She's like, this is fine. This is great. Well, anyways, she turns 17 and they're like, okay, you're old enough now. You can decide where you want to go. And she's like, oh, I'll just stay with the church, because ultimately what she wants is security. She's like, I don't want to die again. Like I was just like a regular old college student who just died from fatigue essentially. And like, I'm not doing that again. And so she decides to stay with the church. And I guess once you do this, at the age of 17, they test your divine power just to see like if you have any. And unfortunately for her, she has like an extraordinary amount of divine power. And she's just like, shit. Because she was kind of hoping that eventually she, like, once she was more comfortable and, like, stable, that she could, like, step out. But she, like, becomes a cash cow for the temple. Like, they start sending her to all these different lands to be, like, a healer for people and to, like, just go and, like, receive people's blessings. Like, just so they can, like, kiss her hand and be like, you're a blessing from God. So she's starting to get really sick of it. She's like, I am trapped here. I have no way to get out. And, like, literally, people are, like, coming specifically to see her to, like, use her powers. Like, they will pay, like, exorbitant amounts of money. So one of her many different clients or people who come in to use her powers is this Duke Cable Willard. He's not technically the Duke yet because his father is still alive, but he's, like, on his deathbed. And he's kind of scary. Like, there are definitely rumors that he's the reason his father is on his deathbed and that he killed his brother previously. And like, there's a lot of like some harsh rumors surrounding him, but he ends up using Renesha's powers just to sleep. Like he has terrible insomnia. And so she's able to use her divine powers to like help him get a full night's rest. First of all, sounds amazing. I would love a full night's rest as well, but we can't all get what we want. But anyways, so Father Timothy, the guy who runs the temple in El Nur, he ends up approaching Renesha and saying that he has a job for her. She can totally turn it down if she wants to. No big deal. And he kind of starts describing everything. And this neighboring like kingdom called Vyas has like wasted all of their money. They're in terrible standing. And instead of like admitting defeat and just trying to like rebuild themselves, they've decided to declare war against their kingdom of Arnell. And so as she's like hearing him talk about this stuff, she goes, no, because that will put me in danger. I'm not dying again. This isn't happening.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, oh, well, since you said I can have a say, I'm saying no. And then essentially she realizes she's being voluntold that she's going for the church.
Oh, no.
They're like, no, they need 20 healers. You have to go. So she's like, shit. Well, they offer her 300 gold and she's immediately in a better mood. Because it's enough money that she's like, if I do this and I like complete it correctly, then after this mission, I could like actually separate myself from the church. Like I'd have enough money to be like self-sustained.
But she doesn't think that they're going to try and keep her?
She's like, no, I'm going to use this as an excuse to go away now. So she's like, I'll just take the money and run once this is done.
I just don't see that plan working out for her.
I know, me either. But we'll just have to see. Who knows? So as she leaves, like she's told all of this different stuff. She's like, honestly, this mission will be totally fine for you. This war will be a breeze. You're going to have the Imperial Prince there, and he's the leader of all of the paladins. You'll be okay. And the commander of the Nikiel Knights will be there, who is Cable Willard, the man who she knows quite well as being terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
So right away, she feels not at ease at all. She's just like, great, I have to be around this gloomy man all of the time. And then she sees the Imperial Prince, and he is literally glowing. Like golden eyes, golden hair. Like he's just like the perfect being. She's like, oh my God, he is the sun. Like this is perfect.
I don't know why, but that just made me think of Austin Powers' Gold Member.
Definitely does not look like he's from Austin Powers. So funny. But anyways, so as she gets there, like very early on, they basically are walking through these mountains. There are a few different like ambushes from, you know, the opposing kingdom. And essentially her job and the other priest and priestesses' jobs is to heal any of the knights or the paladins that get injured. Mm-hmm. So right away, the Imperial Prince kind of takes note of her, and she learns that he's able to see how much divine power everybody has inside. So he basically he volunteers her to go and heal a bunch of these injured soldiers, saying like it'll take nothing for her to do it, but like it will exhaust all of the other priests and priestesses. So you should just do it, Renesha. And automatically this one priest, who is like the Imperial priest's or the Imperial Prince's priest, mm-hmm. gets really jealous. His name's Val Valjean. And he automatically starts getting all of the other priests from Avnel to start picking on Renesha, like taking her food. They're like, oh, since you're so much more powerful than us, you wouldn't possibly need this food. And they'll like take it from her. And her sister priestess, Lily, who's also her roommate from the temple, like immediately stands up for her. She's like, give me that fucking bread. She's like, give me the bread back. But it really infuriates the prince. So he decides to personally apologize. And of course, Renesha's just kind of staring at Prince Elvinaris like, oh my God, he's beautiful. Mm-hmm. I mean, as any of us are. She's like zoning out. She's like, oh my God, he's gorgeous. And she tells him to his face, like, you're beautiful.
I mean, sometimes you just have to say it.
Yeah. Like he pulls her aside. She's like, I'm not going to lie. I kind of wished you would get injured so I could heal you. You know, like one of the demented readers are probably also thinking. But he immediately just starts laughing. Like he laughs it off, and you can tell he like makes more efforts to be closer to her. He's like, it takes a lot of your like power to help heal other people. And so it's really important to like take care of your priestesses. So let me know if you need anything, like if I can help you stay in a good mood, like whatever helps you with your divine power, just let me know. So automatically she kind of starts getting the feeling that he's kind of only into her or like paying her any attention because he knows her capacity for divine power. And he's worried that while on this trek, she's gonna like kind of lose some of her capabilities, or like she'll tire out and not be able to heal a bunch of the different knights and paladins. So she just kind of like, she's trying to keep it out of her head. She's like, there's no way a prince is in love with me, so we'll just not even worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at the same time as dealing with this beautiful ray of sunshine, she's also dealing with the person they call the Grim Reaper of the battlefield, because he's killed everybody without a scratch on him.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like if I were in this situation, I would probably gravitate towards the Grim Reaper.
They're both stunning. Surprising nobody. I mean, literally golden hair and golden eyes. And then you have like the black hair with the purple eyes. Beautiful.
So yes, I knew from the name.
Exactly. So at the same time, like, Renisha kind of has this preconceived notion about Cable because she's seen him before. Mm-hmm. Like, he's come to the temple. He's very quiet and keeps to himself, but he is also extremely grumpy and doesn't talk to anybody. He makes like a bunch of snide remarks under his breath about her, how like slow she walks. He's just like, God, could you heal your own legs so you could walk a little faster? And to be honest, kind of sounds like me and my husband giving each other shit. So has a special place in my heart. But she is like desperately in love with Elveniris. She's like, oh my God, the prince is gorgeous. Mm-hmm. And she automatically like kind of steers clear of Cable, but she knows him a lot better than a lot of the other people there. So she's always kind of keeping an eye out for him. Like, she tiptoes around. She's like, hello, Duke Cable. And he's like, don't call me the Duke, because my father hasn't passed away. And if you start calling me that, people will assume that I'm trying to take his title. And she's like, oh my God, kill me. Like, I don't even know what to say to you. So they end up going on an expedition, and the knights are ordered to be behind all of the priests and priestesses because they have to keep them safe. So they kind of sandwich them between the paladins and the knights. And of course, he's making a bunch of commentary about how slow she is. But all of a sudden, they get ambushed. And he ends up like saving her and telling her to run away because an arrow shoots like so close to her face that it catches her hair. And she starts freaking out and panicking. And she had also watched one of her knight friends like get hit with an arrow right in front of her.
Aww.
So she's traumatized. And she basically ends up talking to Elveniris about it the next night because they end up reaching like a safe house. They end up having like a dinner and some drinks. And she's like genuinely not okay. Like, she just feels like she watched someone die in front of her and there's nothing she can do. Like, she can help heal people, but when they've already passed away, like, she can't bring someone back from the dead. So then she kind of has a talk with the prince who has pulled her aside. And she's like, are you only interested in me because you're trying to make sure that I can maintain my divine power? And he's like, will you be upset that I deceived you? Like, yeah, that's my job, is to like make sure that you can do your job.
Yeah.
And so she says she's fine. And she just kind of like walks away and brushes it off. In the meantime, she takes note that Cable isn't sleeping. He hasn't asked for any of her help or anything. He's got giant bags under his eyes. And he's grumpy to everyone to the point that like they are scared to be near him. And he just like has an aura around him of like death. It is actually terrifying.
Oh my gosh.
So she ends up offering to him that she'll stay watch and wake him up if anything happens, but that she'll end up like giving him time to sleep on sentry duty. Mm-hmm. And he ends up taking her up on her offer. And as she's looking at him, she's like, I've never seen him so at peace. This is crazy. And as she walks away to grab this blanket, she puts it on him and he wakes up and sees her right over him. And she goes to leave and he ends up grabbing her arm and he's like, I woke up because your heartbeat sounded distant.
Oh my gosh.
And so she's like, he was hearing my heartbeat? That's kind of okay. That's a little weird. So she doesn't know what to do. She's like, is he only asleep because I'm this close? So he's holding her arms and she just like hovers over him the whole night.
So uncomfortable.
So uncomfortable. But instead of letting him sleep an hour, she lets him sleep for hours. And she's just like, wow, he's really pretty when he sleeps. And then he wakes up and he's just as terrifying as he was. And she runs away. But basically where we've left off, you kind of have this little love triangle between the prince and the soon-to-be Duke. And Renisha is just kind of like, I just want to live.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't want to die. I've seen too many people die already. I died already before. And I just don't want that to be me.
So which male lead are you interested in for her?
I am definitely going with Cable.
Yeah, me too. Even from the description. It wouldn't take me much convincing, though.
I know. I will say, Alvaniris is beautiful, but you kind of see him, like, very much struggling with liking Renisha.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only assume it's because he's a prince and he's supposed to like people within a monarchy, stuff like that, hierarchy, etc. But, like, I think Cable is pretty open and honest about the fact that he teases her pretty relentlessly.
Mm-hmm.
He can openly communicate with her, and she still, like, talks to him like a human.
We love open communication.
And we do. Snaps for open communication. But ultimately, he's also just so great. I love seeing how she's just a sweet little sunshine. And you gotta have that sunshine gloomy duo.
I love a grumpy sunshine. I think we talked about this last time, too.
Yeah.
It's the best dynamic.
It's such a good dynamic. So I really love it. I highly recommend it to you. Now that we've kind of gotten a little bit out of a reading rut, I have a few other titles that I've been meaning to start that I haven't.
Yeah.
So hoping I can kind of throw those into the mix too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us on our little talk today, and looking forward to talking to you on the next one.
Goodbye.
Bye.